Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
EVO. This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. With the passing of Pope Francis, 1 billion Catholics around the world are now in a period of mourning. And we're about to witness, well, not witness, but become aware of one of the great mysteries of the Church of Rome, the process by which the new Pope is elected. It's a ceremony called Conclave. To understand Conclave, we should start with the building in which the ceremony takes place, the Sistine Chapel. It began as so many things in Rome do, with a vision, half divine and half political. In the late 15th century, when the Renaissance swelled through the arteries of Italy like springtime through frozen earth, Pope Sixtus IV, a man of iron ambition and devout intellect, imagined a sanctuary that would rival the glory of Solomon's temple. And thus was born the Cappella Sistina, the Sistine Chapel, a place destined to be both the heart of papal ceremony and the canvas for one of the greatest artistic achievements in the history of man. The chapel itself rose modestly beside the old St. Peter's Basilica, a rectangular space modeled after the proportions of Solomon's temple as described in the Old Testament. It was consecrated in 1483, and its early decoration fell to artists of fine repute, Botticelli, Ghirlandaio, Perugino, who painted the walls with tales of Moses and Christ, each side of the chapel telling a mirror story of law and redemption. But it wasn't until Julius II, the warrior pope, seized the papal throne that the Sistine Chapel would earn its immortality. Julius was a man consumed by legacy. He envisioned a church that would not merely survive the centuries, but conquer them. In Michelangelo Buonarroti, he saw a weapon as potent as any army, one who could transform plaster and pigment into revelation. Michelangelo, at the time more sculptor than painter, resisted. He saw himself born of marble and chisel, not brush and scaffold. But the Pope was relentless. In 1508, under reluctant agreement and with grim resolve, Michelangelo began to climb. The ceiling was vast, over 5,000 square feet, and curved. He designed his own scaffolding high above the marble floor and labored under the unyielding stone arch. Paint dripped into his eyes, his hair, his body ached. He battled mold, he battled time, and mostly his own perfectionism. But what emerged over the next 4 years was nothing short of a vision of the cosmos. 9 central panels told the story of Genesis, from the separation of light and darkness to the drunkenness of Noah. And between them, sculptures of nude youths, twisted with sculptural elegance. The Sibyls of antiquity and the prophets of Israel loomed along the edges, foretelling a redemption not yet come. And in the center, arms outstretched, God reached toward Adam, whose limp fingers awaited the spark of life. It was a cathedral of the imagination, a ceiling that lifted the soul and terrified the heart. The ceiling was unveiled in 1512, and even the hardened Romans gasped. Here was divinity made visible, eternity captured in plaster and pigment. Decades later, in his old age, Michelangelo would return to paint the Last Judgment upon the altar wall. Here the majesty of creation gave way to the awe of reckoning. The chapel became a book of beginnings and endings. And today, in the shadowed halls of the Vatican, beneath that vault, where the scent of incense lingers in the ancient stone and whispers carry the weight of centuries, there exists a ritual cloaked in secrecy and mystery: the Conclave. To understand the Conclave, we must begin not merely with the present, but with the deep roots of the Church, the slow accretion of tradition and power, and the enduring mystique that surrounds the election of the successor of Peter, the Bishop of Rome, the Pope. Welcome back to The Devil Within. You're listening to Conclave. Long before cardinals donned scarlet robes and assembled beneath the frescoed ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, Rome had been a seat of emperors and gods. It was a city of senators, of oracles, of blood and glory. When Peter the Apostle, crucified upside down on the Vatican Hill, was buried near a pagan necropolis, no one could have foreseen that a new empire, one of spirit rather than sword, would grow from his martyrdom. Christianity, once hunted through catacombs and alleyways, became, under Constantine, the official faith of the empire. With time, the Bishop of Rome emerged as the first among equals, among bishops, and as the empire crumbled, the papacy stood firm, preserving knowledge, guiding kings, and eventually becoming a monarch in its own right. The need to elect such a figure, both spiritual father and temporal prince, demanded a ceremony of great solemnity and gravity. The transformation from a persecuted sect to a global religion is one of the great arcs of history. Following Constantine's Edict of Milan in 313 CE, which legalized Christianity, the religion exploded in influence. The city that had once fed Christians to the lions now adorned its skylines with basilicas. Bishops gained prestige, property, power. The Bishop of Rome, seated in the heart of the former empire, soon found himself wielding both theological authority and diplomatic significance. By the 5th century, popes such as Leo the Great and Gregory the Great had assumed roles that stretched far beyond spiritual leadership. They negotiated with barbarian kings, they managed grain supplies, and safeguarded Rome's citizens during invasions. As the Western Roman Empire fell in 476 CE, the papacy again emerged as a linchpin of continuity in a disintegrating world. This dual identity of the Pope as both shepherd and sovereign necessitated a careful and sacred process for succession. That process would evolve through war, reform, and revelation into the Conclave. The earliest popes were chosen by popular acclaim, often amidst chaos and political maneuvering. In the 2nd and 3rd centuries, the clergy and local Roman officials had a voice. These early elections were tumultuous, at times resulting in rival popes, anti-popes, everyone vying for legitimacy. And as Christianity expanded, so did its complexities. The church needed clear structures. Councils attempted to standardize doctrine and governance, but local customs still prevailed in many areas. In Rome, the selection of the bishop or the pope remained a hybrid affair, part democratic, part aristocratic, and deeply influenced by Roman nobility. This model persisted until the 11th century. By then, corruption had crept into the process. Noble families often treated the papacy as a prize to be won, bribing electors, installing relatives, and wielding papal power for secular gain. The moral authority of the office was eroding. Pope Nicholas II seeking to curb secular manipulation, issued the papal bull In Nomine Domini in 1059. It declared that only cardinals could elect the Pope. Thus was born the College of Cardinals, the body that, to this day, gathers in conclave. The word conclave itself derives from the Latin cum clave, meaning with a key. The implication was clear. The electors were to be locked away, secluded from the world, until the Holy Spirit guided them to consensus. Subsequent centuries would see numerous changes to the rules and procedures of papal elections. The Lateran Councils, the Council of Trent, and even modern popes have adjusted the protocols, refining the balance between secrecy, solemnity, and spiritual discernment. At its heart, however, the process remains an act of deep faith, that God speaks not through thunder or flame, but through the hearts and hands of fallible men. The modern conclave begins with solemnity. The cardinals file into the Sistine Chapel, whose ceiling, again, Michelangelo adorned with scenes of creation and judgment, a fitting canopy for their divine task. They swear an oath of secrecy, and any breach of this vow results in automatic excommunication. Once the doors are sealed, all outsiders, including staff, assistants, even janitors, are expelled. The cardinals are alone with their conscience and their ballots. Voting begins typically the next day. Each cardinal writes the name of his chosen candidate on a specially prepared ballot. The ballots are folded, collected, and counted. If no candidate receives 2/3 of the vote, the ballots are burned with a chemical additive that produces black smoke, fumata nera, which signals to the world that no pope has been chosen. When a pope is elected, the ballots are burned without the additive, producing white smoke, fumata bianca. Bells ring, crowds in St. Peter's Square erupt in cheers. The new pope emerges onto the balcony and delivers his first blessing. But this ritual is more than mere pageantry. It's a sacred drama. The Sistine Chapel becomes a crucible of prayer and politics. Every whisper, every pause, every nod carries weight. A cardinal might rise during dinner to deliver a heartfelt plea. Another may share a memory of a mentor, subtly suggesting a virtue the next pope should embody. Speculation about deals and promises persists. Some observers believe certain cardinals lobby behind closed doors, promising positions or influence in exchange for votes. While such acts are officially forbidden, and the oath of secrecy forbids discussion, the human element can't be denied. Ambition, fear, hope, and conviction all dwell within the chapel's Renaissance walls. Do you say data or data? Well, at my house we say data. And for the longest time, I thought paying a fortune on my monthly data plan was just normal. That was until I found out about Mint Mobile and their premium wireless plans that start at just $15 a month. When I finally ditched my legacy carrier, and when I say legacy, I was with them since I was in my 20s, and I realized I could pay 1/3 of what I was paying for the same or often better coverage where I live in Los Angeles. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data, or data, your choice, and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, bring your phone number and all your existing contacts. So ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. No matter how you say it, don't overpay for it. Shop data plans at mintmobile.com/devilwithin. That's mintmobile.com/devilwithin. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, vacation season is basically here. And this year, you know what? I'm treating myself to some upgrades. luxury upgrades with Quince's high-quality travel essentials at fair prices. Don't know what you're going to wear on vacation? Quince has lightweight shirts and shorts from $30. They have pants for any occasion and comfortable lounge sets. They also have premium luggage options and durable duffel bags to carry all of your stuff. And the best part is that all of Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. So I have a lot of national and international travel coming up in the next 3 months. So you know what I did? I ditched that carry-on that I've had for, I'm ashamed to say, 15 years, telling myself, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's luggage, you're supposed to keep it forever. No, you're not. Replace it. Go to quince.com and check out their luggage options. I decided on their carry-on because no matter where I go, I travel very light. I did some comparison shopping, and there was no comparison. For your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/devilwithin for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/devilwithin to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/devilwithin.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garden and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
Despite these undercurrents, many cardinals report experiencing a profound spiritual focus during conclave. Some speak of a hush that settles over the room. Others describe the stirring of intuition, the sudden clarity that one name, one face emerges above the rest, not through calculation, but through grace. Though shrouded in theology, conclaves are not free from worldly concerns. The election of a pope is also a question of politics, of ideology, geography, and faction. There are reformers and conservatives, diplomats and theologians, curial insiders and pastoral outsiders. The divisions have led to dramatic moments. In 1378, the election of Pope Urban VI led to the Western Schism, where rival popes ruled from Rome and Avignon. In 1492, the controversial election of Rodrigo Borgia, Pope Alexander VI, was tainted by allegations of bribery and nepotism. Even in modern times, tensions remain. The election of Pope John XIII in 1958 shocked many, as he was seen as a placeholder pope who instead convened the transformative Second Vatican Council. The 1978 conclave, following the brief reign of John Paul I, led to the election of the Polish Pope, John Paul II, the first non-Italian pope in over 4 centuries. Each election is shaped by the Church's current needs. Is the moment right for a strong administrator, a theologian, a global ambassador? The Holy Spirit, it said, doesn't descend as a dove, but moves through whispered conversations, quiet prayer, and the collective discernment of wise men. Issues of language, continent, and doctrinal stance color the conversations. Latin American cardinals may push for a focus on poverty and indigenous rights. African delegates might stress family values and evangelization. Europeans and North Americans often emphasize modernization, transparency, and abuse reforms. Thus, the conclave becomes a mirror of the global church. And within that mirror, each cardinal sees not only his brothers, but the faces of the faithful worldwide, their hopes, their pain, and their longing for holy leadership. The term papabile, popable, refers to cardinals seen as potential popes. Often these are men who have led large archdioceses, held key Vatican posts, or earned reputations for scholarship or pastoral care. During the days before a conclave, speculation runs wild. Journalists, bookmakers, church insiders, they all circulate lists. The Italian press is particularly fond of dubbing candidates as, quote, frontrunners. Yet the conclave often surprises. As the saying goes, he who enters the conclave a pope leaves a cardinal. Dark horse candidates sometimes rise. Karol Wojtyla of Poland, you know him as Pope John Paul II. Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Argentina, the recently deceased Pope Francis. These men were little known outside their regions, but their charisma, their vision, and their holiness met the moment. The discernment process is mysterious, though. Cardinals pray, they talk, they weigh strengths and weaknesses, alliances form, not in the cynical sense, but through shared hope. They consider not just a man's capabilities, but his soul. The most popable candidates often carry the heaviest expectations, but they're also scrutinized the most. A past sermon, maybe a controversial decision, or even a private comment may resurface. Integrity, humility, prayerfulness, these things matter more than one man's ambition. Those who vote must weigh the past, the present, and potential. What kind of shepherd does the church need now? Will this man be strong in crisis? Will he listen to the peripheries? Will he pray? Once elected, the new pope is led to what's called the Room of Tears, a small chamber off the Sistine Chapel. There, he dons the white cassock and emerges transformed. Some weep. In fact, many weep. Others pause in prayer. A new name is chosen, symbolizing rebirth. John Ratzinger became Pope Benedict XVI. Jorge Bergoglio became Francis. The transition is immediate. Within minutes, the new pontiff addresses the world. He stands upon the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, flanked by cardinals, and speaks as the vicar of Christ on earth. The burden is immense. The Pope needs to be a pastor to 1.3 billion Catholics, a statesman among world leaders, a moral voice in a troubled world. Some take to the role with vigor. Others, like Celestine V in 1294, resign under the strain. Benedict XVI, citing age and infirmity, shocked the modern world by abdicating in 2013. Once installed, the new pope begins to shape the church, and each act sends ripples. The faithful watch, the world watches, everything matters. The pope is both servant and sign. Servant of the servants of God and sign of unity. He must live in the public eye, pray in private, and carry the cross of Christ into every nation. Despite the openness of modern media, the conclave remains a deeply secretive ritual. Leaks are rare. Guesses often prove wrong. The black and white smoke continued to entrance the world. The church has faced scandal, decline, and doubt, yet the conclave endures as a symbol of resilience. In its rituals, it connects the present to the past, the earthly to the divine. For believers, it's a moment when the Holy Spirit speaks. For observers, it's a tableau of human drama. And so the world watches. As the cardinals gather, the Sistine doors close, and silence falls, a collective breath is held. History is about to turn once more. The papacy may change with each election, but the conclave's essence remains. It's an act of collective discernment, an invocation of grace, and a witness to tradition. Beneath Michelangelo's Last Judgment, amid the quiet shuffle of robes and ballots, the future of the church is written anew. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode and think someone else might get something out of it, I'd appreciate you sharing it with them. And maybe head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and rate and review the show. Every engagement with the algorithm helps more than you know. If you have any ideas for episodes, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, stay safe out there. The Devil Within is an EVO production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. For The Devil Within, I'm your host, Brandon Morgan.